Hey, hey.
Hey, Ray.
Rise and shine, gals. This is your host, Ray.
And this is your co host, Hey, and this is your Not So Average Gal podcast.
Ooh. How was your Disney trip?
It was so much fun. It was my senior trip. We went to Knott's Berry Farms and Disneyland, and they were both so much fun. We ate so much food and went on so many roller coasters, and I had such a blast. I feel like Knott's Berry was really good for their rides, and their lines were pretty short, but we also went on, I think it was a Monday, so that also helped. And let's see, Disneyland, we went on a Tuesday, and the lines were still pretty long. We went on a couple of rides, and some of them weren't as good as Knott's Berry, but it was still so much fun, and I ate so much food. We did so much walking, and we went on their little ferry that they have there, and it was so much fun.
Aw, that sounds like a lot of fun. Did you guys get to go to the beach?
Yes, we did go to the beach. We played volleyball, soccer, we had a fire, and we made s'mores, and it was so much fun being there. I think we were there for probably 2.5 hours just hanging out and doing
Aw,
whatever.
that sounds like a lot of fun.
It was. Well, Ray, do you
Awesome.
wanna tell us about your new little setup that you have going on?
Yeah, so I actually got a new mic and I got a webcam and I have a mixer, so I'm still learning how to use all of it. Um, but I figured it all out so far.
Yeah, you sound really good too.
Awesome. I can't wait for you to get yours too. That'll be so exciting.
Me too, and then I get to learn how to use all of it and play with it all.
Yeah, and you have a trip coming up here soon, so I'll be able to teach it to you before you go back home.
Yep, I get to come see you, and we're gonna do a special episode while I'm down there, and I'm super excited for that,
Yeah.
and I'm excited for everything that we're gonna talk about.
Yeah, me too. And we're gonna do a photo shoot and we're gonna bake a cake together and put Not Your Average Gal on it, take it to the photo shoot with some flowers and make a few TikToks out of it too.
Yeah, I'm so excited to do that, and I can't wait to see you and just have lots of fun, and, Ray and I have just a couple of plans to do while I'm visiting, and I'm just excited to see her and go home for a little bit, and yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. We'll have the TikTok link posted down in the captions.
Yes, make sure you go watch those and get a little behind the scenes on everything that we're doing.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, you wanna jump right in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so I'm interviewing Hay today, and our topics are gonna be why the podcast means so much to you, about how you met your boyfriend, and any future goals or current goals that you're working towards.
Yeah.
All right, so why does the podcast mean so much to you?
Well, the podcast means so much to me just because I get to do it with you, and it's just been so much fun so far, and it really keeps us in touch and talking and, you know, creating ideas. And one part that's just so much fun is going back to memories. Like, I want to say it was 2 episodes ago when we talked about all the times our house got broken into, and it's just fun seeing everything from each other's perspective, and how we remember it. And
Yeah.
just remembering back to those are just fun and they're funny, so it's just a lot of fun to do. And, it gives me more to do. And instead of just sitting at home all day, I get to, help figure out the, next topic and just being able to talk with you and, having something more to talk about.
Yeah, I was thinking about, like, podcast ideas. I think it was, like, a couple days ago, and it was really funny. I was at work just doing my thing, and I was like, "Ah, one thing that we should talk about is school," and I don't know why I was thinking about it, but, like, have you ever cheated on tests?
Yeah.
So I was in art class, and we had to do self-portraits. I think that's what it was, and I can't do anything like drawing, painting, I cannot do it, like, freehand, And I remember, uh, when we were having to do that, I had somebody else do it for me. And whenever I turned it in, I just told him that I had someone help me with it, and he says, "Did they help you with it or did they do it for you?" And I said, "Oh, no, they just helped me with it." And then all, like, the top portraits got hung in the hallway, and mine got hung in the hallway, and I
Oh,
didn't
no.
even do it.
Oh, man. That
So
poor person probably didn't get any credit, although theirs was probably up right next to yours.
they actually weren't in school anymore. But
Oh.
yeah.
Well, at least that helps though, so that way they can't rat you out, you know?
Right?
Gotta stay a secret.
Disclaimer, we do not advise cheating on tests or projects, but I I think everyone's done it probably one time.
Oh, yeah, I know, I just use my phone now, but I'm graduated and I have my diploma in hand, so anybody can see this, and I'm done.
Yeah, so just coming up with memories like that, I think is really fun to talk about.
You're the one that taught me how to cheat on my phone.
Like, girl, don't say that.
It all started with math.
Yeah, math is a tough subject.
Yeah, that is not our strong suit.
It's not, especially geometry.
Mm-mm. That makes sense to me, or even algebra.
Yeah,
Just I don't know, there's some things about it that I get, and then there's most that I do not. But
right?
somehow I passed every class. So, every math class I've ever had, I did it. So
That's good. I know what 2 plus 2 is, and that's all that matters, right?
right. And I always found one person in my math class to help me.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I would make friends, and I'd be like, "Will you help me with my homework?" And they just help me with it because they were great at math. So then I passed. The only thing I would never pass was the tests, but when you get an A on all of your homework, sometimes the tests don't always matter.
Sometimes.
If you can get a C on the test, so then you're still passing. That's
Yeah,
exactly what I would do. Just get a C.
right. I think I still have text messages from, like, 7 years ago asking classmates if they did the project for, like, the next day or something.
Oh, man. See, I was pretty good about doing my projects, though. Like, cause I was always afraid, "Oh my gosh, like, I'm not gonna get it done in time." I would finish my projects, like, the 1st or 2nd day that they were given out. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I'd be like, "Okay, you have, 4 days to do it," and instead of, like, talking to people in the class, I just do my work, and I just get it done right then and there, like, with homework. I almost never had homework because I just wouldn't talk to people, I would just do my work, and then I'd be done, and then they'd be like, "Okay, turn it in," and then nobody would turn it in, so then they'd get an extra day, so then the extra day, I just sit and play on my phone.
Nice.
Yeah.
Alright, I love that. So what do you want to come out of the podcast?
Honestly, I just want to have fun with it, I love watching us grow with it, especially you getting your microphone and your mixer and, just everything going good and just, you know, waiting for the day that we're like, "Oh my gosh, look at we got more views." I actually don't know this person that watched our podcast, imagine having a stranger watching it. And, I just love watching all the support and just having fun with it, making all of our Instagram posts, the YouTube posts, and just knowing that we have something on Spotify, like famous people use Spotify. Like that's crazy to me that we can use it and just knowing that famous people use it, people that have millions of followers, and I'm like, "I'm on there too." So it's just fun, Of course, I would love, to be walking down the street and someone's like, "I saw your YouTube for your podcast," and be like, "Oh my gosh, that actually means the world to me, like, you actually like it?" So just, imagine that day coming, and that would just be so crazy. But right now, I think it's just so much fun and just watching us grow and do it together and, wait for the day that, I have my microphone too, and I'm like, "Wow, our audio is great." Like, who cares if we only have 20 followers? Our audio is so much better than it was 2 weeks ago, and just
Right.
watching us grow together.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's awesome, growing together. I think that's one of my biggest goals.
Right.
We're
Yeah, I
creating
think that's
something
amazing.
together. Oh, sorry, what was that?
Exactly. Oh, yeah, I was just agreeing, like, I think it's so amazing that we're able to create it together and do it together and
Mhm.
grow together.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really important that we're growing together, and it really means a lot to me too.
Yeah. Yeah. Also,
Awesome.
here is the special guest star, Blake. That is Blake. He says hello. He is one of my 2 Shih Tzu poodles, and they are just such good boys. They're almost 5 years old.
I can't believe they're almost that old now.
I know, in September.
That's crazy. Alright, do you have any near future goals or, like, 10-year goals from now?
I honestly don't really have a time frame on my goals. Besides work goals, I really wanna travel. It's always been something I'm like, "You know what? If I'm gonna do anything in my life, it's gonna be travel." I wanna go to France, I wanna go to Greece, just anywhere in Europe. I wanna go to Thailand, just go be in the water. That is one of my main goals, and now that I'm with my boyfriend and, we're pretty serious, so it's like all these goals are, like, including him now, and it's so exciting. Like,
Yeah.
instead of solo traveling, now I get to do it with the person that I love most, and I just feel like there's something so special about traveling and having fun together and, doing all that kinda stuff. So, yeah, that's one of my biggest goals is to just travel.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think traveling is so much fun, and we haven't done too much of it, especially, like, out of the country. Um, but I think that's an awesome goal.
Yeah, and it's so nice because he wants to do the same too. We're both on the same track of we wanna travel before we, like, settle down, and we wanna go out and have fun, and, when I say have fun, I mean spontaneous trip to Greece or Paris or, you know, going, kayaking and just doing whatever we want without having, other things that we have to, figure out whether it's, "Okay, we have 5 dogs. What do we do with 5 dogs? We have 2 kids. What do we do with 2 kids?" You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so many people do it. It's so amazing how they're like, "Oh, yeah, we're going on this trip, and we're taking our 2 dogs and 3 kids," and it's like, that is so fun. I'm so glad that you can do that as a family, but him and I, we are so on the same track of we just want it to be the 2 of us. We wanna go do whatever we want and just not have to worry about anything else.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's something that you feel really passionate about?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't really know. Like, I have a lot of things that, like, I love and, like, that I want to do and I, dream about, and I feel like something that I could be passionate about is traveling, like, that is one of my top priority things that I'm going to do in this life, But I also feel like family is a very, top priority, like, you don't wanna be alone, at least I don't wanna be alone. I am pretty used to doing things on my own, but now that I, like, have a boyfriend and that I've been, living with our mom and everything, I'm so used to doing something with people now
Mhm.
that I love doing something with other people, and even, like, with the dogs, it's like, "Oh, let's take them on a walk," "I don't wanna go alone, will somebody else go with me?" And just all that stuff, so I feel like having your people, just like your best friends, your close family, even family that you don't know that much, just having somebody there with you,
Mhm.
is just that's something that's so important to me is just having people.
Yeah, that's awesome. How did you and your boyfriend meet?
I actually love our story of how we met, so going, back like 3 hours before I actually met him, I was getting ready to go to our winter formal for school, and I did not feel good at all. I was like, "I am not going, like, there's no way you can get me to go, like, I don't care if I've already paid for my ticket," and I was, re-wearing a dress, and I was like, "It's okay, I didn't spend, $200 on a dress or anything, it's not that important." And I was actually getting ready with one of my friends, and I'm like, "Okay, I'm just gonna go home. I'm gonna go sleep, like, see you later." And so I went home, and I slept for, like, an hour, and I woke up, and I was like, "You know what? I feel fine now. Like, you know what? I'm gonna get ready. If I don't feel good again, I'm just gonna go back to bed." And so I started getting ready and I was fine and I went to the dance and I was going alone. My friend that I was getting ready with, she wasn't even going. And so I knew that I was gonna be alone. I was like, "It's okay. I'll dance by myself. It's fine." And so that's what I did. I just, did whatever I wanted. I ended up finding a friend of mine and, just kinda danced around with her a little bit. But 99% of the time I was by myself. And so a slow song comes on. So I'm like, "Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna go walk, to the tables, just kinda hang out over there because 'cause I'm not gonna try to slow dance with myself." And
Right.
so I look up and this guy asked me, "Can I dance with you?" And I look up and like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Why not?" And it's so funny. He has, like, all this facial hair, like I mean, I knew he was a student, like, I had seen him before, but it kinda took me by surprise, right? And so, like, we did our slow dance, and it's so funny because we talk about it, and I remember him doing most of the talking, and he remembers me just talking the whole time. And so after that dance, we just go our own ways, like, we had to exchange, like, first names, but that was it.
Mhm.
And so, I'm doing my own thing again, I'm dancing with my one friend that I found because this is also maybe a month after I had just started this new school. And so I have my one friend, we're dancing, and then another slow dance comes on. And I'm just, making my way to the table, and he says, "Do you wanna dance again?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not? Like, it's fun, it's fine. At least I'm not alone." And
Yeah.
so we're dancing again, and again, he remembers me just talking the whole time, and he's trying to teach me how to two-step, and I'm like, so distracted because I'm trying to, like, look at him and talk to him, and he's trying to teach me how to do this dance, and I'm like, "Wow, this is going terrible." And he tells me, now that we're dating, he goes back to his friends and says, "I'm gonna marry that girl," and that is what he told all of his friends, and
Oh.
he did, and he tells me that all the time. He's like, "I knew you were the one. I was telling all my friends that that's the girl for me." And all of his friends can back him up on that. And so that night ends. We never exchanged like Snapchat, phone numbers, nothing. And so I just go home and let's see, it was probably, the next Monday. I go back to school and I'm talking to my favorite teacher. I'm like, "Yeah, and this kid, he asked me to dance and everything." And I'm like, "But I have no idea what his last name is." I never got his phone number or anything. And so she tells me what his last name is. So I look him up on Instagram. I'm like, "Found him. Wonderful." So I just follow him. It had been, let's see, a couple of days later. So I had followed him and he followed me back. And a couple days later, like a week later, I think, he follows me on Snapchat because I have my Snapchat on my Instagram. And so we started talking, and he's on a car ride because it was winter break. And so he's just in the car, and so we're texting this entire time. And so we end up, hanging out a couple of times, and we were friends for a month before he finally said something. He was like, "I like being your friend, but I don't really just want to be your friend anymore." And so then that whole thing started, and like he took me out on a date and everything, like an actual date, not just two friends hanging out, because we did anything we could to hang out. We went on walks through the snow as an excuse to go on a walk together, even though it was snowing outside. And so we had so much fun as just friends. And then, we started dating and we are together all the time now. And we just do everything together. We are each other's best friends. And it's the best relationship I've ever been in. And I have so much confidence in it. And it makes me so happy just thinking about it.
Aw, that's such a sweet story. Tell us a little bit about your first date.
Our first date, let's see, he picked me up in his car. So it's so funny. For our first couple of, like, hangouts as friends, he had his car, and he has a 4Runner, and, we'd go up, you know, off-roading and everything, and so he actually ended up getting caught in some ice and hitting a tree, so then his car was technically totaled, but he ended up fixing it, but for the 2 weeks that he was fixing it, I was driving him around. And I was like, "It's a good thing we're just friends right now, because I would" like, I had relationships before where I was always the one driving, and I was like, "I'm never doing that to myself again."
Mhm.
So, I was like, "Okay, you know what? Him and I are just friends right now, like, I'll drive him around, like, it's okay." He drove me around, in his car when he had it, like, that's cool. And so, he ended up fixing his car, or actually, I don't even know if it was fully fixed yet, for our first date, and we actually went to his work, which is a restaurant. And so we go there and, we're saying hi to everybody that he knows that he works with, and, um, honestly, I feel like our first date went pretty good. And it's so funny because the way he asked me, so, you know, we'd been here for a couple of months, but I still wasn't working, and, he texted me, he was like, "We should go grab lunch sometime." And I was like, "Yeah, like, that'd be great, where do you wanna go?" And in the past, he told me that his work was expensive, and he was like, "We should go to my work." And I was like, "Ooh, I'm not trying to pay expensive prices right now, like, I'm not working." He's like, "Well, I'll pay." And I was like, "Oh, so it's like a date?" He's like, "Yeah, it's a date." And I was like, "Okay then." And so we went to his
Aw.
work, and we talked the whole time, and he was like, like, "These are really good, like, these are my favorite." And, like, we shared a pizza and, got some other little appetizers, and we talked the whole time, and it was great, and it was just a great first date. And let's see, then I think it was like the next day or like 2 or 3 days later that he asked me to be his girlfriend, and we did that at, a lake nearby, and that we'd go to all the time, and so it was so cute.
Aw, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, we heard about your first date, and that was very special. What would your absolute dream date look like? If you could have any date?
Mm, that is such a good question. Um, Honestly, anything I do with my boyfriend is my favorite. We do everything together,
Mhm.
and he plans every date that we go on, which I've never had before, and I think it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, that's so
And,
special.
we do, like, a lot of restaurant dates, which I feel like is, pretty usual, but I feel like my absolute dream date would be just going to the beach, having, like, a picnic, um, gosh, I don't know, just something, that there's a lot of thought and effort into. As I love our restaurant dates, I love doing everything with him because he always picks me up, he pays for dinner, he's such a gentleman, and that is so special because there's already thought and effort put into it. He opens the door, he knows he's gonna pay for dinner, he picks the restaurant, he puts thought and effort into it, but I feel like something, more intricate, maybe some flowers, maybe some candles, he puts a blanket down, he packs the picnic, he's like, "Okay, sunset is at, this time, we're gonna make it in time for sunset." Just something like that. I feel like it would just be, it has beautiful scenery, maybe somewhere that isn't crowded or just other people around, and, I love the beach. So if the beach is included, I'm in.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would be, like, my dream date.
Aw, that's awesome.
Now I know that this is get to know Hey, but what about you? I'm really curious. What is your dream date?
Well, I wasn't expecting any questions, but um, oh, let me think for a minute.
I know being put on the spot is hard.
It is.
Even I love day dates too. Just like, "Okay, we're gonna go get
Mhm.
coffee, we're gonna go to Ross, we're gonna go to whatever restaurant and get food, and then we're gonna go to the beach." And, like, one date that we do that I love doing is, like, car dates. So we'll, plan the time, and we'll go to, like, Panda Express. I love Panda Express. Now it's not fancy. It's kind of expensive. It's not fancy, but I love it. I love Chinese food. So we'll go there, and we'll drive up. kinda like a little mountainside, good view for the sunset, and we eat our Panda Express in the back of his car and watch the sunset, and then we get cold and then we go home. And it's one of
Yeah.
my favorites. Like, we'll go on a little walk beforehand and or, after we eat so our food doesn't get cold. And it's just so much fun just to watch the sunset. It's just the two of us. We have my favorite food and it's not long, it's not expensive, it's not, okay, you need to dress up, but, it's like the whole day, I'll still put on like a cute outfit, jeans, t-shirt, probably do some makeup and stuff, but it's not dress and heels. And I love doing those kinds of dates every now and again. But I love a,
Mhm.
a good day date where we're just together all day, shopping, eating, coffee, and just everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I think one of the dates instead of doing, like, my dream date, I'm gonna say one of my favorite dates, if that's okay.
There you go, yeah.
So, we were actually on our honeymoon, and, we did shopping in, like, the mid-afternoon, went back to the hotel room and just kinda relaxed a little bit, and then we went to, this place called The Melting Pot. And that was so much fun. Like, you sit down and we paid a little bit extra for, like, the date service, and so they put rose petals on, like, the table, and they had candles lit, and, they took our picture with a Polaroid, and so I still have that picture, and then we chose our food, and I had a drink, and I don't remember exactly what it was called, but it was this, like, martini with, strawberries inside of it, and it was so good. You couldn't taste, like it was an alcoholic beverage, so you couldn't taste any of the alcohol at all, and they were so yummy, and so then you get your food, and you, like, cook it in, like, this broth, so you get it raw, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's raw. And, then you cook it, and it was just so much fun, and then after that, we went, and watched a movie, and then just went back to the hotel, and it was, like, such a simple date, but I remember it so clearly, and it was so much fun.
Yeah, that sounds like so much fun. I feel like that would be a great date to do. I wish we had a
Mhm.
melting pot near where I live so that way I could go do that same date.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Another one that we do, like, pretty typically is going out to breakfast, and then I mean, maybe some people don't consider it a date, but I think it's kind of a date. We go out to breakfast, and then we'll, like, go grocery shopping afterwards, and then we come back and we just, like, watch a movie together,
Yeah, I
just
love
at
doing
home.
breakfast dates.
Yeah, and it's always good to eat before you go grocery shopping.
Oh, yeah. Now, I don't do the grocery shopping part because I don't like grocery shopping. Luckily, my boyfriend does, so I can just send him to go get something if I need.
Yeah.
But I love doing the breakfast dates, and, like, we have one breakfast spot here that is our absolute favorite, and whenever we do a breakfast date, that's exactly where we go every time.
Yeah. Breakfast dates are so fun because it's, like it's morning and, like, you always have so much energy in the morning well, I have more energy in the morning than I do at nighttime.
Yeah,
And so you're, like, wide awake, and sometimes I'll get, like, a mimosa, or we just get, like, orange juice and pancakes, and
yeah,
it's so peaceful in the mornings, like, there's no rush to go do anything,
right,
especially, like, on a Saturday or Sunday morning.
right. Yeah, I know. We love doing it just when there's no people. So,
Mhm.
any morning, because right now neither of us are working just because 'cause we're both, going, like, moving kind of a thing, and we have so many trips planned, and so neither of us are working right now, so we just go, on a Wednesday morning, and there's nobody there, and it's just I feel like it's so much more fun like that because this one spot that we go to is so popular. So if we go on, like, a Saturday or Sunday morning, everyone is there, it's like a 30-minute wait, so we
Oh,
love
wow.
going on, like, a weekday morning.
Yeah. Alright, well, I think that's all for this episode. If you like this podcast, please tell a friend and be sure to join us next Monday for our newest episode.
And this is your Not So Average Gal podcast signing out. See ya. What do you have to say, Blakey?
Man, this is hard.